Welcome and welcome back, everybody. I'm Jem. This is my creative space, and it's the weekend, which means we're back with our interactive Junk Journal Elements book. Now, I'm going to put this straight to the side this week because I haven't actually put anything in it yet, but I want to show you something. Now, before I do, you might hear my voice is a little bit croaky this week. And Mr. Jem and I have had a horrible kind of respiratory thing, which I just can't clear off my chest at the moment. So if I sound a little bit croaky or I'm coughing, please excuse me. But anyway, we're here. I picked up a pack of postcards this week. And look at these. I'll just show you very quickly. They're kind of vintagey. Some are naturey. Some are a little bit gothic. You know, really cool. I love these. And anyway, I picked these up and I thought, oh, they're really nice. And they're actually really quite good, thick quality card. And I was reminded of something that I've done previously with postcards. And I thought, oh, that would be really cool to show you. And I want to show you this. Now, hopefully you can see this. To make it a little less confusing, I'm just going to grab a piece of paper and put that in there. This is a page I did in I think this was the July Junk Journal Challenge last year. And I don't know what the prompt was now. Oh, yes, no, postcard. There we go. And if we pull this out of this pocket here, you will see that this is a postcard. And the cool thing about this is that you pull this out and you have this wonderful hidden journaling space. So when I picked up this pack of postcards this week, I thought, wow, that would be really cool to do. And as you can see, it's kind of an illusion because you look at it like this and you don't necessarily realise there's anything inside, but you pull out and there you go. Now, with this one, as you can see, I'd put it into a pocket. It does just fit, honestly. There we go. So that was hidden in that pocket and it's got a little pull tab there. But you don't have to put them in a pocket like that. You could tuck them into a belly band or a corner tuck, anything you like, really. So that's where we're going to go today. And I picked out one of the postcards from that pack and created one of these, just so I can remember how to do it, really. So there we go, pulls out, there's your hidden journaling space. Now again, and there's your illusion of your complete picture. Now again, doesn't have to be journaling space inside. You could have another image, you could put anything you like in there, really. So that's where we're going to go today. So, and I tell you what, this is dead easy. Let me sit down and we'll show you how to start. It's also a good way of using up some odds and ends of card. And really all you need is your front image, so your postcard. You need a piece of backing card the same size. And you need a piece of card to go in the middle. And I'll talk about the measurements of these in a minute. But really it's not, there's nothing complicated to it. Now, the other thing you do need, if you're going to turn this into journaling space, is something to stick on there. I have this little pack. Again, I picked this up in an op shop, I think. And these are just little sheets. I don't know what these are for, but they're great for things like this. You know, I don't know what they were intended for originally. They have a little elastic band that goes around them. So, some kind of notepad. Anyway, this is what I'm using them for. And I'm using those to create my journaling space. Now, you don't have to have these. You could use lined paper, you could use plain paper, you could use coffee dye paper. As I say, you could put a nice image in there as well. So, without further ado, let me show you how to make these, because honestly, guys, this is so simple. So simple. All right, so you've got your two pieces cut to the same size. You're going to turn your postcard over, and with your glue, you're going to run a bead of glue all the way around the edge, and you're going to keep, oh, you are if your glue's working. Hopefully it's not going to be one of those days. I don't feel 100% today, I have to say. So there we go. All right, so with your postcard, turn it over, bead of glue all the way around the edge. Now you want to keep as close to that edge as you can do. And I actually like to go round twice, just to make sure I've got a good stick all the way round. Okay, now I'm using a reasonably strong glue. This is something called Tiger Grip. I know that you can get it in New Zealand and Australia. It's got a US measurement on, so I'm picking you might be able to get it in America as well. But it's made by Helmar Australia. There you go. But it's just a good strong glue. All right, so you've got your glue all the way around the edge, and now you just need to line up your two pieces. Now, of course, I thought my postcards were 4x6, so that's what I cut my backing pieces to. And as you can see, they're very slightly smaller. So it doesn't matter. I'm just going to trim around that edge. Whoops. So that they're the same size. All right. Now, we need to let that dry before we do anything else. But whilst that's drying, what you can do, if you want to, is just to ink around the edge. I've got a sepia ink here. Nice for sort of a vintagey look. Now these postcards are a little bit shiny, and what I've found is it's good to give the ink time to dry before you start handling them too much on that side. So I'm going to ink the edges around this one, and I'm going to do back and front on this one. There we go, and I'm going to pop that to the side to dry. Okay, whilst that's drying, we can create a middle insert. So I'm going to do journaling space on both sides of it. So I'm going to take my piece of journaling paper, nice bit of glue. Now I'm going to line this up with one edge, you know, lengthwise. It's going to be lined up at the bottom. And you'll see why in a minute. Let's do the other side and then we'll talk about sizes. So again, just make sure that you're lining up with the same edge. And I've given it just a little bit of a border. I like to see that the card underneath. Now I also like to round my corners, and there's two reasons for that really. One is that the corners on these pieces of paper are rounded and I like it to look the same, but also the rounding of the corners does help it slide in and out. Okay, now size wise, you want this piece to be about 3/4 of an inch smaller than your postcard width wise, and about 1/2 an inch shorter. Now those measurements are not exact, but they'll give you enough wiggle room to put things together and to start playing with. Okay, now this is quite a dark colour. I'm not worried about inking the edges of this, but if you wanted to, you know, if it was a lighter colour, you could ink the edges of your card as well. So we'll pop that to the side to dry. Our postcard should have dried enough now. So we're going to come back to that. This is our double-sided. And now you can do this with a trimmer, or you can do this with a craft knife and a ruler. But you want to be taking, let's just put this and make sure that you can see it. Oh, yeah. I probably wouldn't take less than an inch off. Now, I'm pretty sure, if I remember rightly, yeah, from there to the edge of my board is about an inch. You may have a pattern that you want to work with on your postcard. For example, this one could pull out at the bottom, and in fact we might do that just to show you the difference. And I could use this the writing here and have that as the pull tab. So let's do that, and that will show you the difference. So I'm going to go just about an inch. Just double, is that going to work? Yes, that's going to work. So because it's quite a thick card, you sometimes have to go through a couple of times, but we've cut right the way through. And what you will find now is that you can open these two pieces up. Okay, so you've got a back and a front, like a little pocket. Okay, now in your smaller piece, you're going to take your card, and the end of your card that's got more room, you're going to pop it in there. And you want to push it in as far as it'll go. And you just want to make sure that it's in the centre this way. Okay, that's rough enough. All right, so that's in as far as it goes. Now, what you want to do is to test drive this. So you want to open your other piece and pop it together and make sure that it goes all the way in. Now this one does, but you want to make sure that that's a nice snug fit, because then your picture will line up and you won't have a gap. If this is too long and it's sticking out, then take this off and trim a little piece off here. Try it again until you get it right. This piece is okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue. And the way to do that, pop it in, make sure it's in as far as it can go. And I'm just going to double check that that doesn't need any cutting off. No, that's fine. You see my picture's matching up. Right, so then your pencil, make a little pencil mark both sides, and then take this piece off. And what you want to do is to put glue just above that pencil line. Okay, and in fact I don't go quite down to it. I give myself a little bit of leeway, wiggle room. Yeah, there's a new phrase for you, lee room. All right, so glue on both sides, and then you're going to slip that back in. I've got it in the wrong hand. Ooh. Now this is the only fiddly bit, so you want to pop that in, push it down as far as it will go, and this is the point where you do really want to make sure it's centered. So if you've got glue that gives you a bit of room to wiggle, that's good. Okay, now if you're really worried, you can, before you glue, you can measure and mark the center point on both pieces. I tend to eyeball it, and it does seem to work. All right, once you're happy with that, push it down both sides. Make sure there's no excess glue. And you can remove those little pencil marks you made. I'm just going to get rid of that little bit of glue that's got on there. Okay, now I would say give it a minute. Make sure you haven't got any glue, top or bottom, before you put it together, because you don't want it to stick in there. Mine's dry nicely, so there you go. Pop it in, line your picture up, and that is all there is to it, my friends. There you go. Now, as I say, that's a bottom opening one. Pulls out from the bottom. this one pulls out from the top. I guess you could do one from the side. I've never done one from the side, but there you go, you probably can. What do you do with them now? Well, I tend to, and what I've done in the past, is to sort of mass make a few of these, and then have them ready to go into a journal when I'm making a journal. And when you put these in, you saw that other one, the Dracula one, in a pocket. You could put them under a belly band. Now the other thing you can do is, if you use some washi tape, you can hinge these and have them as a flip out, and you can have more pockets, belly bands, other things on the back. Okay, you might want to add additional embellishments onto your postcards as well, and again, that's something I would do when I put it into the journal, you know, depending on the theme of the journal, or, you know, matching and coordinating with the page and putting them on. Now I hear you say, that's all very well, Jem, what if we don't have postcards? Not a problem. Let me show you. You can use exactly the same technique. This is scrapbook paper, scrapbook card. Now you do want a reasonable weight of card, because you don't want this flippy floppy. You want to be able to push this in and out without it buckling and creasing and creating problems. So as long as you have the reasonable weight of card, you can make this with anything you like. Now, as I say, this is scrapbook card. This was a piece I had left over like this. I've cut it in half so that these are the same size. This is the other lovely thing. These don't have to be 6x4. They can be any size you like. So this is slightly smaller this way. I need to cut off a little bit this end. So I'm going to do exactly the same. We're going to glue these together. And this piece will form the lovely base for decorating. So this one I would add, again, I'd make it, and then when it's going into my journal, I can add embellishments, I can add toppers, I could add lace, whatever I wanted that matched in with the journal. Now I'm just going to check and see if this is directional. I don't really think so, or certainly not enough for me to worry about it. So line my two bits up. Okay. Again, I've got just a little bit extra there. Oh yeah, I didn't cut that very well at all, did I? Oh, excuse me. Dear, oh dear. Apparently, this horrible respiratory thing is going around New Zealand at the moment, and everybody is struggling to get rid of it. All right, I've switched my black ink for this one, just to change up, make differences. And I'm going to whip round that edge, and then we're going to leave this bit to dry. All right. Now, this one, am I going to add journaling space? I'm going to add journaling space just to one side of this, I think. Now, let me have a look. What have I got? I'll just find my scraps here, because I happen to have a couple of scraps of this graph paper, and I think that might be fun. Now, we also said we need to trim a little bit off the end of this, don't we? Because that's going to be too long. So that's now about ½ an inch shorter. And this is a scrap of card that is white core, which means when you cut it, the sides are coloured and the inside isn't, and you get that white line down the edge. So I am just running my inker along the edges, just so that we don't see that white. There we go, sorted. Okay, so now where are we going to go? think I'm going to follow the lines on the graph paper actually, just to make it easy. It's probably the only way I can cut a straight line actually. Where are we going? Okay, that one there. And that one there. Right. Let's get some glue on these. Now, you could use glue stick. The reason I'm using my slightly stronger glue is that these are going in and out of the pockets, and I just find that this glue is less likely to come away. Alright, so again you'll see I've lined it up with just a little border of that edge. Although these pieces are a bit bigger. There we go. A couple of rounded corners. And then I'm going to come back and cut this piece. Again, I know that the measurement from here to here is about 1 inch, so I'm going to do this one slightly bigger. I'm going to give it a little bit more. So take our top piece. Insert, make sure it's all the way in, and then test it. Aha, now, oh no, it is going in. You'll see that this one does have a little bit of a gap here. So just to make sure that we don't get that when it's all finished off, I'm going to take just a little bit off this edge. Not a lot, I'm taking it off a couple of mils off, or 1/8 of an inch, something like that. And you can see that's gone in better and it's lining up without any gap. So I know now that I can take that out. Oh. Put some pencil marks. Glue above that mark, both sides. And this is where we want to make sure that it's centered this way and that it's pushed in as far as it'll go. I've a little bit of excess glue there, so I'm going to take that off. Into those pencil marks. this pattern is the same both sides, so let's turn that round so that it lines up. There we go. And there's your hidden journaling space. Now, as I say, this, for me, this would be the great basis for some additional ephemera and decoration. I want to show you one last thing, because you can go, okay, well, maybe I don't have scrapbook card. Okay, this is exactly the same. This is made with a piece of gel print, and it's stuck onto 2 pieces of card. Okay, so my gel print's backed onto a card, and then it's done in exactly the same way. And there's my inner. And again, depending on your gel print, you may want to add decoration to this. So I'm just playing with that. That hasn't actually gone back in quite. There we go, that's better. So again, you could add decoration or whatever you wanted onto that. You can do this with a magazine image as well. If you've got a nice magazine image, back it onto a piece of card, use that as your postcard. One more variation for you. It doesn't have to be square or rectangle as these are. It could be square, but you can also do exactly the same with a tag. So I've got 2 tags here stuck together, and I knew this was going to happen. I didn't wait for it to dry and my glue has stuck. Oh no, hold on. Oh, there we go. Let me do a little bit of a rescue job here. Now this is a don't do as I do. There we go. So you can do exactly the same with a tag. All right, and you've got your hidden space, your hidden journaling space, or whatever you want it to be inside your tag. Okay guys, so quick and easy project today. Multiple uses, multiple interpretations. You can adapt it to any theme you like. But that's all from me today, folks. Stay safe, happy crafting, ka kite anō.